Hey guys, this is Limit of Londo, giving you part 8 of my Dark Souls 3 walkthrough. In the last episode we covered the starting zone of the Cathedral of the Deep, showing off one of the shortcuts. And the last episode was kinda short, about 12 minutes long. And this episode is much longer, about 30 minutes. But during those 30 minutes I'll be covering a lot of items, shortcuts, and ultimately fight the boss. So these mindless zombie enemies right here will respawn constantly, so I don't mind them much unless they're blocking my way. Like these two. Just give them a good whacking and proceed. So here we get our first item, which is the Astora Greatsword, which is a pretty neat Ultra Greatsword. I haven't used it much myself, but I encountered quite a few who uses it in PvP, and they do some good damage. And its weapon art is deadly as hell if you first get stuck in it, because it's like a running thrusting attack, and if you first get hit by it, you probably get hit by multiple times, resulting in big damage. So we're gonna find ourselves a pit. It's over here. Find our second greatsword, which is the Executioner's Greatsword. And I like that sword. I used it on one of my other characters, and it looks pretty cool. As you can see, I forgot my torch and bleed resistance items, so I'm still suffering from blood loss. So my tip 2 is remember your torch. So up here we're gonna encounter some more zombies and a new kind of enemy. They'll be using these twin swords and can do some deadly combos if you let them. And their apparel set kind of resembles the butcher set from Bloodborne, in my opinion. Over here we're gonna get some items, some young white branches, repair powder, some souls, and utlu. And on this ridge we're gonna get ourselves an undead bone shard. If you're wondering why it's raining arrows here, it's because of the giant we befriended in the undead settlement. He assists us even here, and you may get a glimpse of it in the distance. That you can see the tower where he shoots from. It's a really cool mechanic they brought into the game that he'll help out in several areas. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of him. That's the tower from the undead settlement. So that's pretty cool. Over here we're gonna get ourselves a great shield, a curse ward, and here we're gonna drop down a ladder, which will give us a little shortcut. Won't be needing it though unless we die on our way here. You never know. There's some tricky paths ahead. So the giant door or gate is gonna be closed. Gotta open it from the inside. So we're gonna go around it. Pick up these rusted coins, and then we're gonna move on this way. So what's tricky here is gonna be a lot of enemies with those fury swords and fury spears, and they'll suddenly decide to go suicidal mode, and if you let them, they'll blast themselves into pieces, doing pretty good damage, which is dangerous because this is a place you easily can fall off, and it's crawling with those troll enemies as well. If you don't recall them, it's those small hooded goblins that we encountered in the undead settlement. And they usually gang up on you from behind or from anywhere really. Here we got one of them. And that's another one. And yeah, things can easily get messy here. Yeah. Back at it again here. As you saw, it was a pretty good example of how quickly things can get out of hand. And enemies popping up everywhere. So it's important to have a certain amount of crowd control. I reckon that a spear or a weapon with wide and big range would be good here. Maybe it would be a good idea to bring a sub-weapon along. I usually don't do that in Souls. Unless I'm a pyromancer or a sorcerer build, then I usually bring some sub-weapons. But really not when I'm doing a strength, dex, or quality build. I remember when playing Salt and Sanctuary, I used a ton of different weapons. In that game it was incredibly fun to explore different weapons. As I basically used a different weapon for each area in the game in my first playthrough. So if you haven't had the chance to play Salt and Sanctuary yet, I suggest you pick it up. It's on Steam now for PC as well as PlayStation, and it's really a good game. It's like a 2D version of Dark Souls, and I'm thinking of going back to it very soon when I'm gonna be fed up with Dark Souls 3, whenever that is. So here we got these bad grandmas again. One of my least favorite enemies. I think my least favorite enemies is dogs, and these witches is a good second maybe. What? Crap. Giving me a hard time, that friggin' witch and her associates. Damn it, and he got me with a Lloyd's Talisman, or Undead Hunter Charm, as it's named in this game. Let's fucking wreck him! That's better. So here we get some Undead Hunter Charms, formerly known as Lloyd's Talisman. For you guys who don't know who Lloyd was or is, he was known as All-Father Lloyd in the previous games. I think it was Dark Souls 1 he made his first appearance. Well, not appearance, but mention, I think it's the right word. It was mentioned in different item descriptions as Old Father Lloyd, and I don't know if it was the one who started, that founded the Way of the White, or just an important person within that religion or sect or whatever we call it, covenant. And why? I don't know why it was called Lloyd's Talisman. Maybe he hunted the undead or unkindled before. Because it prevents you from chugging Estus. Which seems like a reasonable tool for hunting the undead. Let's see, what did we miss up here? Oh, that. Yeah, those guys we took earlier. So we're gonna soon enter the Cathedral of the Deep. And we're gonna encounter a couple of these twin blade enemies. Not twin blade, but dual wielders. So little HP left. There we go. That's the second one. I'm always glad I have a shield with me with 100% block percent. Well, I always feel comfortable bringing a shield I can block. This was one of the first things I learned. God damn. One of the first things I learned in Dark Souls is always to bring a shield and keep that fucking shield up when traveling to unknown places. And I think that saved my life many times in blind playthroughs. Everything from traps to ambushes. Man, just to salvage your life in difficult spots. Especially if you're in a place like this where enemies can pop out from anywhere and jump off from the side or from the roofs. It's pretty nice to have a shield with you. But if you're a backstabbing king, I guess you can do it that way. Or if you like to dodge like hell. I like to mix it up. I consider myself an all-rounder, maybe. So here, we're gonna enter the cathedral. And as you can see, the area is pretty friggin' big, and down there is a giant, and you might be thinking, what the hell have I stumbled myself into? So this area is pretty friggin' big. Oh. And these are the Deacons. They're like the priests of the deep. They do some, as I saw, some pyromancy, but I also do dark sorceries or the deep sorceries. I think we're gonna take the shortcut first. It's a pretty fascinating story about the Cathedral of the Deep, because it was, I think it originally was Saint Aldrich's resting place. And the Deacons of the Deep and the Cathedral Knights kept him safe, or guarded him, and he was a high priest himself, Aldrich. but then developed a taste for human flesh and started eating his fellow priests or something, and then turned into an abomination of sorts and just grew bigger and bigger in this cathedral until he moved along and began devouring bigger creatures. So you gotta watch out for these giants. You're gonna get hit by him if you're not fast enough. Yeah, he's got a pretty insane range. So I'm just gonna pick up this ring. Lloyd's sword ring. Fuck. And I think the item we just ran past is bolt, explosive bolts or something that we won't be using, so we'll just make our way past them. But in here we're gonna meet another tricky enemy. It's a mimic. So let's buff up. Really creepy creatures, these mimics. They're like skinny and slender and tall and friggin' hideous. And they do a ton of damage as well. So they pose quite the challenge. But we dealt with this guy quite easily. Drops a tome that you can give to learn miracles. We won't be doing any miracles though. This is a Cathedral Knight. They have a pretty cool armor set. And they can be pretty easy to take down if you get a backstab. You usually get one backstab like this by just circling around and waiting for him to hit around. And you usually get one free backstab when he busts his weapon. So here's going to be thralls patrolling and dropping from God knows where. So be sure to watch out. And I didn't manage to save the footage, but I did clear this area behind that giant. Oh. PlayStation wouldn't save it, so I was a little disappointed. But behind that giant and down that door is a Saint Spear or Saint Bident, I think. And also, this very area I'm walking now, if you're embered, you're gonna get invaded by Ringfinger Kirk, or Knight Kirk, as he is known from Dark Souls 1. That footage was also recorded, but something happened and it wouldn't be saved, so sorry guys that it's not in this video. But by killing Kirk here, you'll get his armor set, and next to a bonfire and a covenant, which I will show you the location of later. It's Rosaria's Fingers, and it's yet again cool that they bring characters of old Souls games back. If you play the first Dark Souls, you remember Knight Kirk as an annoying invader from the demon ruins, and he was friggin' annoying there. A little bit easier here in the cathedral. Maybe he's grown weary and old of the fighting, who knows. So here we're gonna open up some new shortcuts to the first initial bonfire of the place, and I'm gonna explore some more into the depths of this place. Okay guys, let's continue. Let's try out this Lloyd's sword string. It boosts your attack when your HP is full. So makes good use in your first hit against an enemy boss or NPC or invader. I don't know exactly how much attack is boosted, but it's gotta count for something, right? I can imagine that many people do some ring swapping in PvP with this, landing some hits until they take damage, then ring swapping to something else. So next up, we're gonna pick up some items. Actually, the best crossbow in the game, in my opinion, the arbalist. Then we're gonna discover the new covenant I was talking about earlier. And then we're gonna test our balance and coordination, as it's a pretty tricky area in the roof of the cathedral. Which is in there, but we'll go in there in a second, just clearing out this place first. So down here you'll find the arbalist. You know, I was planning on doing an all bosses run with crossbows only. I started it, but somehow I fucked that game up by getting Greyrat killed early, and I wasn't able to buy the bolts that I wanted, so I was stuck with crappy bolts, and the boss battles took like forever. And I figured that it wasn't gonna be much interesting footage to look at killing a boss with a crossbow for like 10 minutes each. I don't know. So this is the place, people. If you fall down here, it's gonna be imminent death. So that takes care of that guy. And it doesn't look much of a hard task until you meet those guys. The Cathedral Knights have a friggin' wide reach with their greatswords and maces. So a little touch or hit from them and you'll be flying down these holes. Even these trolls can easily push you over. But first thing is first. We're gonna get ourselves a gem. I think it's the blessed gem over there. And let's see if we can take on this Cathedral Knight. Oh. Man, I'm happy I had my shield up there. And their armor is pretty cool. It looks like Crusaders, but it's very heavy armor if you're gonna wear it. And that greatsword of theirs is pretty cool too. Haven't been using it though, like ever. But I admire the people that use it in PvP. Alright. Oh crap. Barely made it. I think he fell down, the poor bastard. Oh shit. He almost got me. Oh man. Oh man. Let's try and get away and run around him. So let's try this again. As I mentioned, and as you saw, the reach is friggin' deadly. Oh, this wasn't the guy I was supposed to pass. So much for nothing. This is the place. You drop down here and continue to drop down there. And here you're gonna encounter some blobby creatures. Friggin' hideous. And I'm gonna pull this lever to put up a gate. Let's disperse some of these fuckers first. They kind of resemble the Orphan of Kos from Bloodborne. Ish. Yeah, let's just open this gate and it'll make way to the new covenant and the bonfire. And if you kill Longfinger Kirk, his armor set will be available just here. So this is Rosaria, Mother of Rebirth. Let's join her covenant. And here you'll be able to respec your talent points or skill points to create different builds and also alter your appearance if you're not happy with your choices. So let's continue. So on this other side of this gate or bridge, there's gonna be, it says betrayal ahead, because it's gonna be a Katarina knight there, but it's really gonna be patches. But I don't know how exactly, but how to get him to get there during the quest line. But I'm gonna show you how to progress both Patches and Sigurd's quest line in the next video, without engaging them in the cathedral. So this is the door we saw on the outside, and we open it from the inside here. And that's that for this section of the cathedral. So yeah, I don't remember if we were in this place earlier, where we first met the first cathedral knight, in this big room. There's gonna be one big bad monster. Yeah, and he looks like that. Looks like the cousin of Dark Beast Parl, the optional boss from Bloodborne. The thing is, this guy isn't necessarily very hard, but he spits that gas which will petrify you, like the basilisk. It will curse you. And as we all know, if the curse meter fills up, you're fucked. So just get him down and loot these nice items. And I'll show you how to clear the rest of this area before moving on. So I've shown in an earlier video how to deal with this giant, and I'm not gonna do it now. I'm just gonna pick up these items so we can clear up this place. It's the Drang armor set and the Drang hammers, which we're very interested in. There we go. And this is the last section of the area before the boss fights. Some Deacons and some Cathedral Knights. And as you can see, I brought Pyromancy with me. So, not really doing a pyro build or anything like that, leveling it or anything, but I got it available, so why not utilize it? Some extra fire orbs make some nice damage, so why not? But if you guys want me to do more pyro, just let me know in the comments or a message and I'll seriously consider it. It's really a cool dungeon or area, this cathedral. It's so ancient and big, and all these holy or formerly holy priests and knights, and it's all like now just a forgotten or darkened version of its former self. But such is the fate of most things in Dark Souls. Something was once holy, big, or adamant, and then it all withered and darkened or became corrupted, something. So here you'll find the pair, Horus and Anri, as summonable phantoms for the fight. And I think also Cirrus of the Sunless Realm is also available. No, that was an online guy. Anyways, on the other side here is the boss fight, and I'll let you enjoy it without commentary. So that was Cathedral of the Deep, you guys. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm Limited Lombo. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay classy.